Have you ever wondered why the kinder you are, the less respect you seem to receive from others? You give your time. You listen and empathize. You say yes even when you're tired or even hurting. And then, people walk all over you. It's not because you're weak, but because you're too kind. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Today we're going to explore 5 psychological reasons why your kindness might sometimes cause others to lose respect for you. Reason 1, you're always available. And why that makes people stop respecting you. You reply to messages instantly. You rearrange your schedule just to help someone out. Even when you're exhausted or busy, you still say yes, because you don't want to disappoint anyone. Sounds incredibly kind, but ironically, this constant availability is what makes people start taking you for granted. According to Carl Jung, when you're not fully aware of the value of your own time and energy, you're unconsciously teaching others. My time isn't important. Being available 24/7 makes you seem less selective. People stop seeing you as someone valuable and start seeing you as simply the person who's always there. And human nature being what it is, we rarely respect what comes too easily. Think about 2 friends. A friend A always shows up whenever you call, always agrees, never says no. A friend B listens, helps when it truly matters but has clear boundaries. If they're busy, they say so. They respect their own time. Whose advice would you respect more? Whose presence would you value more? The answer is clear, friend B, because they make you aware of the value of their time and attention. Here are a few ways to reclaim your time without losing your kindness. 1. Don't reply immediately all the time. Unless it's urgent, give yourself 10 to 15 minutes, or even a few hours to respond. This isn't rude. It's a way to create a healthier communication rhythm. 2. Practice saying, "Let me check and get back to you." It's a polite way to pause and stay in control, while still showing respect. 3. Schedule your help. Instead of saying, "Okay, I'll do it right now," say, "I can help you tomorrow morning. I'm in the middle of something right now." This helps others learn to plan with you, instead of expecting instant access. And that's how you take back control of your time and your kindness. Kindness is not about being present all the time. True kindness is knowing when to show up, and when to step back to protect your well-being. People will only start respecting you when you start respecting your own time and energy. Respect is built through boundaries, but when you're always available, at any hour in any situation, people begin to assume you're not busy, or worse, that your time has no value. Carl Jung believed, when we fail to honor our own needs, we teach others not to honor us either. Kindness isn't about always being there. It's about being there at the right time with real value. Reason 2. You avoid conflict at all costs. Why that leads to a lack of respect. Maybe you've stayed silent many times, even when you had something to say. You're afraid your words might hurt someone's feelings, or that it could negatively affect your friendships, relationships, or work. You want to keep the peace, avoid starting trouble. You think avoiding conflict is a sign of kindness, a mark of maturity. But this habit creates a silent cycle. The more you stay quiet, the more people assume you don't have an opinion, or that your opinion doesn't matter. Over time, you become the passive one, easily influenced, and most critically, not someone others turn to for meaningful ideas or emotional support. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Often, the reason you avoid conflict is buried deep fear of rejection, abandonment, or being judged negatively. These subconscious fears silently shape your behavior. Social psychology studies have shown people who struggle to express opinions tend to have less influence within a group. They're more likely to be manipulated or dominated by others. A prolonged silence sends a message that they lack confidence, or that their views aren't worth listening to. In other words, constantly avoiding conflict unintentionally signals that your thoughts and feelings don't matter. And when that becomes a habit, others begin to believe it too and stop respecting you. Examples. At work, you have a great idea but hesitate to share it, afraid your coworkers will criticize it. So you stay quiet. Eventually, someone else presents a similar idea and gets praise. Over time, your team stops asking for your input, assuming you have nothing important to say. In your family, You don't agree with a family decision, but stay silent to avoid conflict. Eventually, everyone assumes you're okay with everything, and you end up going along with choices that don't reflect what you really want. You feel unseen, undervalued. In friendships, you always give in to keep the peace, even when your friend says or does something that bothers you. Over time, you become the one who never speaks up, and the friendship becomes one-sided. You don't feel respected the way you want to be. To earn respect, you have to start by respecting your own voice. Here are some steps to help you build that habit. Step 1. Recognize your true emotions. Anytime something bothers you, pause and ask, how do I really feel? What do I need to say? Understanding your emotions helps you clarify what message needs to be expressed. Step 2. Practice expressing yourself calmly and respectfully. Instead of saying something confrontational, try, I see your point, but I feel, or, from my perspective. This approach preserves the relationship while still honoring your voice. Step 3. Start small. You don't have to say everything all at once. Begin by sharing your thoughts in low-pressure conversations with a close friend or trusted coworker. As your confidence grows, extend this practice to bigger situations. Step 4. Set clear boundaries. Be willing to say no when you disagree or can't take something on. For example, I'd love to help, but I'm focused on something important right now and can't do that. Setting boundaries shows others that you're not someone who can be pushed around. You have self-respect. Step 5. Accept that conflict is a natural part of life. A conflict doesn't mean something's wrong. It just means different perspectives exist. If handled well, it can actually deepen understanding and strengthen relationships. Don't fear conflict. Learn to engage in constructive dialogue instead. If you keep avoiding conflict, here's what may happen. You lose your voice, feel powerless, and your confidence erodes. Others will stop valuing your opinions, time, and emotions. Your relationships become increasingly unbalanced. You're more likely to be taken advantage of or dismissed. On the other hand, when you face and navigate conflict skillfully, you come across as confident and assertive. People will listen to you and take you seriously. You'll live more authentically, not constantly trying to appease others. Avoiding conflict isn't kindness, it's fear in disguise. Real kindness is honesty, with others and with yourself. Only when you protect your voice and your emotions will others truly respect you. You choose silence over speaking up. You swallow your words and your feelings just to keep the peace. But peace born from silence is not true peace. It's quiet resentment. And over time, people start to notice. You won't react. So they stop asking for your opinion, and they stop valuing your voice. Respect doesn't just come from kindness. It also comes from being direct. Reason 3. You're too agreeable. Always saying yes makes you lose respect. In life, many of us are taught to be polite, don't upset others, and keep the peace by being agreeable. While these teachings may sound noble, they often lead people into the habit of being overly agreeable, saying yes to others even when they don't truly want to. You might be afraid that saying no will cause conflict, make others dislike you, or harm your relationships. But excessive agreeableness isn't a sign of kindness. In fact, it often causes you to lose your voice, be taken lightly, and most importantly, lose respect. According to psychologists, people who find it hard to say no often struggle with a fear of rejection or abandonment. You worry that if you decline, others will dislike or distance themselves from you. A social pressure. Society tends to reward people who go along and criticize those who are difficult or uncooperative. A lack of communication or refusal skills. You haven't yet learned how to say no tactfully, so you default to saying yes to avoid discomfort. A study from Harvard University on communication and relationships found that overly agreeable individuals who don't set boundaries tend to experience a loss of respect. Others may see you as someone with no clear stance, easily manipulated and unreliable when it comes to important decisions. A mental stress and burnout. Constantly trying to please everyone drains your energy and affects your mental health. A loss of personal voice. When you always say yes, people don't get to understand your real values or desires. As Carl Jung once said, knowing and defending your personal boundaries is a key part of becoming a mature, respected human being. Let's take a few real-life examples. Alone at work. Lan always agrees to take on extra projects, even when she's overloaded, just to stay in good standing with her boss and coworkers. But this leaves her exhausted, reduces her productivity, and ironically, her coworkers stop seeing her as someone with authority. Her ideas get ignored in important meetings. A Min in his friend group, Min always goes along with the group's plans, even when he's busy or uninterested, just to avoid being left out. Over time, his friends start treating him like someone they can boss around, and his opinions are rarely considered when making plans. Tuan at home. Tuan agrees with every decision his wife makes to avoid arguments. But this makes him feel voiceless in his own home, like he's losing his role in the family. Eventually, his opinions are no longer valued. We want to help you break this habit. Here are 5 steps to reclaim your boundaries. Step 1. Identify your personal boundaries. Know your limits, whether in terms of time, energy, emotions, or values. Write down what you're willing to do and what you won't or can't do. Step 2. Practice saying no tactfully. Learn to say no respectfully and sincerely, without hurting others. For example, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't take this on right now. I'm sorry, but I already have plans and won't be able to join." Start with positive openers before saying no to soften the rejection. Step 3. Offer an alternative. If you can't fully agree, suggest a compromise that works better for you. "I can't do it right away, but I can help you next week." "I can't handle this myself, but I know someone who can help." Step 4. Start small and build confidence. Begin by asserting your preferences in small situations, like choosing where to eat or setting meeting times. It's natural to feel scared at first. Be patient and keep practicing to grow your confidence. Step 5. Protect your boundaries in all relationships. Boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're about respecting yourself. When you respect your own limits, others will learn to respect them too. If you continue being overly agreeable, you may suffer emotional damage, lose respect, and strain important relationships. You might feel exhausted, lost, and disconnected from your true self. Lose your voice, people stop listening or trusting your opinions. Struggle to grow in your career or personal life. On the other hand, when you set clear boundaries and learn to say no at the right time, you project confidence, maturity, and reliability. Gain more respect and are heard more often. Live more fully aligned with your true values and desires. Don't confuse being agreeable with being kind. True kindness is rooted in self-respect. And sometimes that means having the courage to say no. Only when you defend your own boundaries will others truly respect and value you. You keep giving, and giving, and giving. Not because you expect something in return, but because giving feels like love. But if the giving becomes one-sided, it stops being love and starts becoming self-erasure. As Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Ask yourself this: do you give out of love or out of fear of being left behind? Reason 4. You always expect recognition or reciprocity from others. Why this makes you less respected. When you do good things or help others, it's natural to want to thank you, some recognition or a return gesture. It's part of how we validate our worth and connect with people. But problems arise when that expectation becomes a pressure or a requirement for your kindness. You might often find yourself thinking, "I did this for them, why don't they appreciate it? I helped them, why didn't they repay me the way I hoped? I was kind to them, why don't they value me?" These thoughts lead to frustration, disappointment, and emotional outbursts. They also create pressure for others, making them uncomfortable or even resentful. As a result, people may start to avoid you or stop respecting you altogether. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of psychological maturity, especially learning to create value for yourself, not relying on others for validation. According to him, self-awareness and inner value are the foundation for freedom and happiness. In other words, if your self-worth depends on others recognizing it, your mindset becomes externally controlled, unstable, and highly vulnerable. Research in social psychology also supports this idea. The people who depend too much on external validation often struggle with emotional instability when their expectations aren't met. They're more likely to overreact or appear overly disappointed, which can create negative impressions. This often leads to their kindness being misunderstood as transactional or even exploited. Example 1. Hung at the workplace. Hung is always willing to help colleagues, take on extra tasks, and lend a hand. But after helping, he expects praise or at least a thank you. When he doesn't get that recognition, he becomes irritated or disappointed, and sometimes shows his frustration. His coworkers slowly start avoiding him, not because he's not kind, but because they feel pressured or like they're in his debt. Despite being generous, Hung loses respect and influence within the team. Example 2. Mai in the family. Mai always takes care of everything for her family: meals, errands, household tasks. But she keeps count of how often she's praised or thanked. When her family doesn't respond the way she expects, she becomes moody or upset. This tension ruins the peaceful family vibe, and others start avoiding helping out just to avoid conflict. Even though Mai puts in so much effort, the family bond becomes strained. Example 3. In friendships. You always try to support your friends, financially or emotionally, but you expect them to constantly recognize or repay your efforts. When they don't, you get upset, maybe even distant or cold. Over time, the friendship feels one-sided, insincere, and starts falling apart. To break free from this need for validation and earn genuine respect, here are some steps you can take. Step 1. Affirm the value of your kindness. Remind yourself, you give because you choose to, not because you want something in return. A kindness from a place of sincerity always creates deeper, more lasting energy. Step 2. Lower your expectations of external recognition. When helping someone, treat it as an act for yourself, not for their praise. Focus on the inner joy and fulfillment that comes from doing good. Step 3. Build internal self-worth and confidence. Let your own actions motivate you, not someone else's compliments. Try journaling your good deeds to stay connected to your own values. Create habits of self-praise and self-reward. Step 4. Learn to express your feelings gracefully. If you feel underappreciated, speak gently. I love helping others, and being appreciated motivates me even more. This fosters understanding, avoids resentment, and preserves relationships. Step 5. Practice accepting no return. Understand that not everyone has the capacity to give back the way you expect. Not being acknowledged doesn't take away from your value or your actions. Let go of unspoken expectations to protect yourself from emotional hurt. Step 6. Practice gratitude and self-love. Thank yourself for doing good even when no one else does. Love yourself through good self-care, mental well-being, and faith in your worth. When you're no longer dependent on others' validation, you become more confident, grounded, and naturally respected. People will feel your sincerity and be more drawn to your energy without pressure. Relationships will thrive on mutual respect and understanding, not transaction or guilt. True kindness is giving without expecting anything in return. Your value doesn't come from other people's recognition. It comes from who you are, your actions, and your heart. When you dare to give unconditionally, you gain true freedom, happiness, and the respect that truly lasts. Reason 5. You tie your self-worth to being needed. Do you feel truly valuable only when others need you? When someone asks for your help, you feel important. But when no one needs you, you feel useless. It's a familiar cycle, and a psychological trap. According to Carl Jung, every person has a shadow, the parts of ourselves we'd rather not face. When your sense of worth only comes from being needed, you're placing your value in other people's hands. This makes you vulnerable to being taken advantage of, losing respect, and ultimately losing yourself. Imagine you're the one who's always helping friends, coworkers, even strangers. You feel good when people rely on you, but when no one needs you, you feel empty. One day you realize you've helped so many people, yet no one truly sees or cares about your feelings. You start to feel lonely, drained, and unsure of who you are beyond being the helper. Here's how to shift. 1. Acknowledge and accept your shadow. Recognize that it's okay to feel angry, disappointed, or in need of support. Don't dismiss your emotions, face and accept them. 2. Set clear boundaries. Learn to say no when necessary. Don't feel guilty about turning down requests that compromise your mental well-being. 3. Define your self-worth independently of others. Explore what you love for yourself. Set personal goals and pursue them without needing validation from others. 4. Seek support from those who respect and understand you. Build relationships with people who share your values and are willing to truly listen. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Your value isn't determined by how much others need you. You matter because you are you. Learn to love and care for yourself before giving too much away. Only when you honor yourself can others truly honor you. Here's the hardest truth. Many kind-hearted people only feel worthy when they're needed. We become fixers, carriers, helpers. Not always by choice, but because we believe love equals usefulness. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the unconscious part of us that seeks validation through sacrifice. And the result? Others stop seeing you as a person. They see you as a resource, and resources get used. Kindness is not weakness, but kindness without boundaries is an unspoken invitation for others to take you for granted. So, be kind but be clear. Love but be honest. Give but only from a place of fullness. Carl Jung believed, healing begins the moment we dare to face what we've always avoided. Today, let that awakening begin with you. If you saw yourself in what you just heard, subscribe to this channel for more deep insights on psychology, emotional boundaries, and self-worth. And if you've ever felt taken for granted for being too kind, leave a comment below. You're not alone, and your kindness still matters.